Ain't no place like low place. And I'm live. Let me check my audio before we get started and we'll go in. Give me just a second. Any, all right, that's good audio. Just making sure there's not many deficiencies up in it. Everything sounds pretty good. So we're going to get started. Look, we just had an explosive press conference. I didn't know what was happening today. There was no live Showtime feed. There was no live Fox feed. There was no live PBC feed. But a lot of boxing media went live on it. And let me tell you, they won't be able to monetize this video with the way this thing went. Okay, you had Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo. They weren't exchanging pleasantries. No. This was explosive. These guys, they don't like each other. They see it. To me, it looks genuine. Okay, just last week we had Danny Jacobs and Canelo do this this little act at the weigh-in where they went head to head, put up forehead on forehead. Then they pull Canelo back. Canelo does this squat thing like he's trying to get to Jacobs. Okay, a lot of people said, okay, that's staged. It ain't been no good hype around it. Look, this fight's been getting hyped. This one here, the difference is in this, and why I feel this one is, it's been going on since the first night in the ring. Jermell Charlo was crying tears after the fight, and Tony Harrison reminded him of that today. Not saying Charlo's weak or nothing for that. Like he loved his sport. He loved what he do. They mentioned it. You know what I'm saying? The beauty of boxing to them, Tony Harrison mentioned this, is that you break the body down and you build the body back up to go to war, to prepare for war, right? And Charlo went through that just like him. And for him to lose his belt, and he felt he shouldn't have lost it, or maybe he can't admit that he should have lost it. Who knows? That came up too. My man was in tears at the press, and Tony was telling me, I lost respect for you. That I ain't respected you since that day. They was on, I don't like him, he don't like me. One guy shout out, I don't want you to like me, but you gonna respect me. Tony Harrison, he looked like he got something to prove, as well as they both have something to prove, because you have both sides of the table saying, no, this guy won, this guy did. It really don't matter who got the belt right now. It don't matter. They both understand that don't matter. What Tony said, the fact is my grandkids will be able to look that I beat you. Okay, that's true. But to the people that's watching them right now, to the people that watched that fight, it's so up in the air. And it was such a good fight. It was entertaining because Harrison was the outboxer, the better jabber, but he was hurt more during the fight. It was just that classic good fight. Not a war, but a clean punching type fight. Clean punching. When they punched, it meant something. Okay? Good athleticism. Two guys who had game plans, and a guy that had the thought that I'm going to negate a game plan on both sides. And I personally felt Harrison did enough to win. He didn't overly, he didn't overly perform, but he done enough to win that title. I don't look at boxing and say, well, you got to take it from the champion. I look at boxing and say the champion got to win the fight just like the challenger do. All right. And I just felt that Harrison did the better work, and he came out with the victory. Y'all give me just a second. Let me take a phone call. All right, back people. But I wanted to segue into reading some of the comments to the fight on YouTube, because they got it on YouTube's live feed, and this video has over 230,000 views. Right? People care about this, and what we got is, you got mixed bag of comments. He said the defense of Jermell Charlo is superb, and then he eats a straight left. A lot of people felt the commentary was biased. Tony Harrison mentioned this in the explosive press conference. Sports Brotherhood is in the chat, and I saw you in the chat on that live feed too. He said you clutch with this one. Conference was lit. Detroit stand up. It was, and it was organic. You know what made me mad about this presser? This guy in the crowd said what I was agreeing with. He asked a question from the crowd, and Charlo passed the question. Then he asked it to Tony Harrison, and Tony Harrison ignored it. But he gave them props. He said it's nice to see two young brothers going to war. You know what I'm saying? It's nice to see that because we normally don't get that. We normally get a Canelo that has to speak through an interpreter, and we really not feeling what he's saying. And they just like let his question go, you know, ignore it. And I was like, nah, bro, he giving you the props y'all deserve. Like the black fans should get behind this, and they should praise y'all for doing things like that, because the Mexican reporters would do it all the time. And it upset me that Jermell didn't respond to that, and then Tony, on the other hand, didn't either. But they responded to Ellie Setback. They responded to everybody else. It's like, man, just get that answer. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you know, most people normally don't want to fight young, slick, black, hungry fighters. Yeah, I'm with it, but they showing it with their actions. So how mad can you be? In my comment section, Quag says Charlo's defense was anything but impressive. I really can't say that. I thought he was on balance. I just think Tony Harrison a very clean puncher. I don't think Harrison defense was impressive either. They look, when you're fighting a good fighter, man, you're gonna have holes. And I'm talking about these guys are complete in so many areas. They can open, you know, like it or not. They're athletes, they're long, they can punch, they're strong, they're hungry. You know what I'm saying? They got everything. They got everything. They both can defend, they both can change levels, they both can counterpunch. It's like looking at something, you looking danger down, you know, danger in the eye when you're fighting something like that. Both men. That's why I even credit Charlo in the loss. Like I saw good things that he could take it, you know, unless he gets down on himself emotionally and mentally. He won't be a good fighter if he loses again, if he gets to that point. But if he just takes what he's good at and keeps working on it, you're not going to be fighting a Tony Harrison every night. You're not going to be fighting somebody who got that level of athleticism, that level of focus, that level of two-handedness, combination punching, speed in those shots, head movement, the ability to counter, timing, the sense of judgment of range. You're not going to be fighting that every night. Charlo got to, if I'm Derrick James, I'd be teaching Charlo this. You lost to a great fighter that people ain't praising, bro. Like, it ain't the judges. We got to make adjustments. We're going to take this fight again. I need you not to worry about the judges. I need you to worry about the game plan. That's where I felt Charlo lost the press conference. But then again, I felt Tony was losing in himself when he kept on trying to go to the judges, and Charlo got a little confidence. Charlo started being able to talk without emotion, because Tony started getting emotional. Like, man, stop talking about the damn judge. I did this, blah, blah, this. Blah, blah. I was like, yo, they both got high levels of emotion right now. But that's what I mean by this explosive press conference. You don't do a review of many press conferences, but they got emotions and it's going to build up. He says Tony living rent-free in that boy head, and I don't think Charlo realized he lost. It's a bit of both. It's a bit of both. I'm telling you, man, it don't matter who got the belt around their waist right now. The only reason it mattered who got the belt around their waist right now, and understand, I think Harrison won the fight. The only reason it mattered is that if it stayed on Charlo's waist, we wouldn't have been getting the rematch. We wouldn't have been getting the rematch. So and I would have still told y'all, nah, that was a close fight. Nah, y'all ain't finna down Tony Harrison because Charlo. Nah, that was a close fight. That's what I would have been saying had they gave that belt and that match to Charlo. I would have wanted a rematch. A lot of people just would have went into a herd fight and then told Charlo move up or something like that. Nah, that we need closure on this one. I could see this ending, both guys getting knocked out. I could see Tony Harrison making a mistake of fighting fire with fire, and you know, trying to put some gasoline on that fire he started, and that turned out bad for him. You know, I could see that Jermell, one of the hardest hitters in the game. Believe it or not, dude, one of the hardest hitters in the game. The flush punches be putting people out. Okay, Lubin wasn't shaking for nothing. That kid from Dallas or Houston, wherever he was, that guy from there, he was out cold sleep. Jermell, one of the hardest hitters and one of the better athletes in the game, got real strong legs, a solid base that he punched from. I'm telling y'all, man, one of the best athletes and one of the better hitters. Charlo said no to the rematch so quick. Oh yeah, it was gonna get to that. When they asked him, he said, you know, I think it was I forgot who asked the question. I asked him, said, you win the fight, are you going to get this man a rematch? You going to get Tony Harrison a rematch like he gave you one? And he said, I already beat him twice. It's like, man, you know, they both had L's in this joint to me. They both kind of had L's. Overall, I feel like because Tony won the first fight, he got a little more room to bounce on, bounce off of a little bit of an L. His L a little bit bigger, so he can erase a little more of the L. Okay, so anybody won the pressure, I give it to Tony Harrison, but only because he didn't erase his full L. And that's all. That's all I'm saying. They both was making mistakes here. They both was a bit emotional, but it made for explosion. See, we don't judge press conferences, right? We judge the fight. We judge the round by round fight, or if somebody got knocked out, we go ahead and count them out. So I'm cool with however it went, but they're gonna have to check them emotions. They're gonna have to be in training camp, use that emotion to get you through every day of training camp. Hopefully we don't have no injuries. I'm so glad Jermell didn't pop off that joint and fire off on dude, bro. It looked like Jermell was about to jump at one point, man. PBC didn't have no security up there. Jermell Charlo took his hand and he started like pointing down, like viciously, like a couple times, like you tripping, you know what I'm saying? Taking his hand, like body language kind of hand gestures with rough talk. And I was so focused on what Tony was saying that it caught me in my peripheral, and I'm like, oh shoot, I thought he done got up and threw a punch. But man, one of the best press conferences I done seen in a minute. There was a lot of M-bombs, a lot of F-bombs. I can't say these words on YouTube no more. YouTube not playing, bro. They won't monetize you. They'll take your channel from you. YouTube is not playing, so I got to act like I got some sense. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to do it. But I think I was watching on Ellie's setback stream. Ellie, I'm telling you, he won't be able to monetize that video. Won't be able to. Not if somebody reporting it. Now, if people just hush, keep it on the low, all good. But I'm pretty sure Tony Harrison get a smooth talking backstage, like, man, you gonna have to chill the N-word out. Charlo was like, he calling me all out my name, disrespecting me. And I was like, man, Charlo trying to play like this reverse psychology, because you was just doing, you know what I'm saying? You was just, you know what I'm saying? You told this man to shut up and this and that. It was a lot of things going on up in there. Charlo got the first chance to speak. Tony Harrison was second, and they both, Charlo started the jabs. The trainers then started. Charlo started the jabs, but then he got Tony Harrison hot from them jabs, and Tony Harrison, he kind of didn't bet. You don't scare me. I ain't. You don't scare me. That's what he was telling them. All that rah, all this rah. I'm telling y'all, man, it was fire. It was fire. I don't like stuff like this when a fight not signed, right? Let's just say Jacobs Charlo, Jermell Charlo Jacobs. I don't like all that rah stuff when the fight not signed, but when it's signed and all we gotta avoid is injury or crime activity that could take this fight away, or PED cheating that could take this fight away, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? All we gotta avoid is that stuff. That's when I like to dive into that aspect of it, because you get to see where their heads at. You get to see how a guy might act emotionally 6 weeks from now. They fight in the ring. Somebody asked Charlo, man, you gonna be able to tame your emotions in there? But I feel like the question for them both, but I can see why he asked Charlo, because he gonna be having the guy that going through the fire to get his punches off. You know what I'm saying? He gotta remain calm and not just be looking for one big shot. He said there's things in the fight that he gonna have to do better. I would think about body shots. He's gonna have to go to the body better. Okay, and that's where his balance is an issue. Excuse me. So what was telling me how bad his balance is overall, and I'm like, nah, it's not that. He's just not a good body puncher. He doesn't know how to get to the body, and sometimes that's really not balanced. Sometimes that's just, okay, the window closed too quickly for you to know how to go to the body if you're not a dedicated body puncher. Triple G can say the same thing. He has good balance, but he's not a dedicated body puncher. Sometimes the window closed. But Jermell, you think, well, you're a better athlete overall than Triple G. Let's see if you can make that adjustment. And that's what he's gonna have to do with Tony. He's gonna have to he's gonna have to speed up the pace, not by making Tony move faster, because Tony's not that guy. Tony he understands pace and space at this point in his career, but you're gonna have to make him think about that while he's taking body shots and the stamina draining out. You're gonna have to give him that mindset of I only succeeded once. You know what I mean? Back to square one with me. You're gonna have to give him that doubt. And for Tony, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Make it a little more decisive. You know what I mean? A little more decisive. Win any way you can. But the jab got to percolate. He had one of the best jabs of 2018 headed into 2019. That's when the fight happened, like December 2018. So if you want to talk about his 19, cool. He had one of the best jabs. I'm talking about the stick was beautiful. Charlo was getting touched with it a lot. It won him the fight, mixed with him starting to mix power punches in there after getting confidence from a power jab. So corruption in boxing in the chat saying good decision from PBC to run the fight immediately back, given the animosity and the controversy. I agree. And if Las Vegas doesn't come out and support fights like this, like just stop giving them pay-per-view fights. First and foremost, we're tired of waiting at 12 o'clock at night for the fight to come on out here in the East, right? Or in the Central time zone. We're sick of that. Okay. And then if you can't praise the good fights, the actual good fights, this is a good fight. It was a competitive matchup. There was a lot of clean punching. There was no fouls. It's controversy in it. That makes it even better. If you can't start praising that, Las Vegas, I hope y'all stop getting fights. I'm way better with New York getting the fight and me getting it an hour ahead of schedule, basically. You know what I mean? Instead of 2 and 3 hours later, I'm sitting there yawning, trying to go live like, oh man, this is dead. But yeah, man, like I don't know who I'm favoring. I'm sort of favoring Charlo. It's just like, man, he landed some big shots late. He had Tony Harrison, on Queer Street late. I'm favoring him, and at the same time, it's just like I don't want to. And you could say I'm switching up because I picked Harrison last time, but right at the last minute, I also started to favor Jermell Charlo. It's just that kind of fight to get the boxing blood, the boxing mind going, and we all should love this fight. Like, it's just a good fight. It was pay-per-view level entertainment at that press conference. That's what it was. It was pay-per-view level entertainment. Two guys. It wasn't like Dominic Breazeale, Deontay Wilder, where Breazeale is calm, like whatever, bro. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Like, come on. You've talked all this talk several times and you failed. That's how Breazeale was kind of looking at it. You did the same thing. You all emotional, and we just see Wilder repeatedly emotional no matter what. This was two guys bought into letting their emotions be shown and letting that be critiqued. Because I'm telling you, one of them lose, you're gonna be critiqued on that. You didn't handle that well. You know what I'm saying? You let this get the best of you. So, man, this fire, bro. This fire. He said Tony by KO. Yeah, I agree with Quags. He said it's a coin flip. I'm gonna read some of the comments from their first fight and just tell y'all like how serious it was in those conversations. We just gonna go to, I ain't gonna go to top. I'm gonna go to newest, right? I'm gonna go to newest. After watching the fight again, I have it a draw. When I watched the fight live, I had Harrison win. All right, see, close. Thank God this isn't radio, and actually I see the fight. He's mentioning that the commentators are biased. Charlo is a very basic power puncher. I disagree, but I could see where he's trying to come from because Charlo had so much distance to cut, and he had like a lot of, you know what I'm saying? Tony Harrison also understands that distance, that pacing, that spacing, and that timing. So Charlo, he was made to look a little basic in there, but that's what you got to be. You got to keep the basics. That's what you got to keep. You got to keep your athleticism and your basics, which is the best you can to be the best man you can be to beat Tony Harrison. But he didn't get it done in that fight. We'll see if he got a better shot next time. All right, now look here. It's another comment said, man, the judges that had Harrison winning by 4 rounds smoking. He said smoking crack. I just don't think he can beat a champ by using your jab and fighting going backwards. See? Why was the commentary so biased in this fight? It was a very close fight, says another guy. When cherry picking gone wrong, this comment shouldn't even be in the section. They should let YouTubers vote to delete these things. If he thinks Tony Harrison's a cherry pick, this guy's never really seen a good fight a day in his life in boxing. But whatever, we'll move on past that. Another guy says horrible commentary. He said, I see where it's another guy that says, I see where you could where he could have lost, but he didn't take the belt from the champ. See, that, like, I don't know where this rule is coming from. That's not in any boxing state commission's judging criteria, excuse me. That, oh, take the belt from this, take the belt from that, and wear this color. No. Wear this color trunks. No. Come out to this music. No. 2 guys go in the ring, and you got to win 7 rounds to be called the winner. Now, if you win those 7 rounds and you haven't did enough, then boxing would tell you, hey, it's not a robbery. You can see 2 rounds being flipped and scored. These are the responsibilities of the fighter. Let's go here. Let's read about 10 more comments. I'm not a Charlo fan at all, but everyone comment is bugging the F out. Harrison only looked like he outboxed Charlo because of his clean punches that only came off of a counter. Let's see what else he got to say. Harrison won maybe 4 rounds, maybe 5. He didn't do enough. He didn't let his hands go. Charlo overthrew a lot of punches, but he landed more than Harrison and had him bothered more. Okay, okay, that's his point. I'm not impressed with Charlo. He'll get kicked by Canelo, Triple G, and Ugas. I think that's what he said. I don't know there. Look, 1 through 3, Charlo. 3 through 6, Harrison. Next 4 could go either way, but Charlo was pressing the fight. Harrison 11, 12, Charlo. Split decision either way. I can see where he's coming from. It was not the easiest fight to score. But just that jab from Harrison, man, that jab was hard not to look at it like a power shot. And the way Charlo was having to eat it, stopping his tracks, and then coming forward, even though he did do that well, you know, he took the punch well and he came on forward. You got to score it. He said, is the audio working for y'all? Okay, that's not coming. Complete robbery. WTF. Tony got beat up the entire fight. Nah, not the entire fight. If you listen to the commentary, you think Charlo was winning easy. Even though Tony was boxing, moving, jabbing, they still made it sound like Charlo was doing more than what he was. Man, they all over the place, ain't they? They all over the place. They all over the place. And you got both parties trying to explain where they coming from. Look, I'm excited. We got 6 weeks. Like I said, it's a colored league, 154-pound colored leagues, okay? We got that coming up this weekend with Herden and J-Rock. 2 good fighters. 2 guys who have potential. Herd might be stamping himself as a great fighter as we speak. J-Rock could win 1 fight and be saying, yo, you're a great fighter and you've lost to another great. You only thing was you lost to a guy that has the potential to be a great fighter. The colored leagues of 154 pounds is producing. It's producing. And I feel like y'all should say thank you, Low Place. I really do. I was the only one pushing this, man. Forget trying to follow Cotto. Forget trying to follow Canelo. Go fight each other and make the division hot. And I just feel like at the end of this decade, we're looking at 154 might have put his name in the hat to be the division of the decade from what Floyd and Canelo, Lara, and them guys did early, and now to what both Charlos, Harrison, Hurd, J-Rock, Trout did late. It just felt like the division of the decade to me. And look what it's the division of the year already. Look at the 2 fights they got. Come on, man. Maybe it is, but you know, we got another half of the year. We'll see. He said, I was hoping his brother could have followed suit and rematched Korobov as the same factors apply here. Yeah, that was a close fight too. That was a very close fight. I don't know if they had money breakdowns. There was no talk of why it didn't happen. That was a close fight. I just think Jermell saying I probably need to stay away from southpaws for the time being. And look, he's Canelo's mandatory. If he's really trying to play his career out and fight an orthodox fighter, I can see where he's coming from. But at the same time, as a fan, it's like, yeah, that was a good fight. That was a good night of boxing, period. They were on the same card, but that was a mistake because Jermell probably took some of that in the ring. Like, if you really go back and look at that fight, they keep showing Jermell in the dressing room, and he glued to the tube. He looking unfocused. He looking worried, like, it's a tough fight. My twin in there, you know what I mean? He got his own task. He got Korobov that been wanting him for a minute in the dressing room, like, all right, keep slipping. But to Jamal's credit, he came out in that 12th round. That might have been a 10-8 round with no knockdown. That was a vicious round. And Korobov, you know, at 35, 36 years of age, after a round like that, he honestly might not even be the same. We'll see in this upcoming fight. I'm ready to see him. He fights again this weekend, right? He fights again. Oh, let me check. I think he fights. Nah, he fights Emmanuel Aleem. But is it this weekend? If it's this weekend, I'm almost sure it's this weekend. I'm almost sure. Yeah, it's this weekend. So that's another good card. Emmanuel Aleem got a top 10 knockout victory at 160. You got Mario Barrios on the card. I don't know when he's going to step up, but he's fighting Juan Jose Velasco. I can't. Excuse me. I can't remember that guy. So I'm hoping the undercard is Korobov Aleem, show Korobov their respect, but they got another 12-round fight for the IBO World Super Bantamweight title, and Paulos Mbunda, who's 27-2, and Stephen Fordson, who's 15-0. I think I know Stephen Fordson, but yeah, we'll see. Fighting for an IBO belt. This is not the kind of card. This is not the kind of fight you want to see before a junior middleweight fight. You know what I mean? You would like to see a middleweight, or come on. I think they could do better than putting the super bantamweight on the card before that. But nonetheless, it's East Coast, so the fight gonna come on early. It's gonna go off early, and J-Rock, he never fails to disappoint. Neither does Tony. It's not Tony Harrison, but Jarrett Hurd. So. Let's enjoy the 154-pound colored leagues while we have it. He says Julian is a live dog. I've been saying that I think he might take that belt. He needs to be cautious, but he needs to get inside of those punches. He needs to change range effectively whenever he wants. He needs effective smothers. He needs hand speed. He needs head-to-body combinations, body-to-head combinations. He needs to get his punches back, and he needs to turn this fighter repeatedly and not be caught on the out. When he's going on the outs, he needs to move his head. If he can fight that fight, then we're going to have to see Jarrett Hurd adjust to not a small junior middleweight, not a guy who's just weak at the weight. I don't think Williams is weak at the weight. We're going to have to see Jarrett Hurd fight the most complete fighter. Tony Harrison's pretty complete too, but I think J-Rock might be a little more comfortable on the inside. You know what I mean? Tony he going to land the shots and walk away, not run away, but walk away, turn away. I feel like Williams can give a shoulder, get inside those punches, catch on the elbow, catch on the gloves, and don't take anything flush. Be smart, and I think he could be a world champion. I mean, remember, Jermell Charlo told him, he said he'll be a world after he knocked him out. He showed him a lot of respect. Or maybe it was before he knocked him out. I just remember him saying it. I think it was actually before. He said he'll be a world champion, but just not today. He said one day he gonna be a world champion, but it ain't tomorrow. Like it was, and it's true. This dude is very skilled. Like I said, man, like I'm hype. I'm very, very hyped for this. I hope you guys can enjoy it as much as I can. We can start crediting different boxes. It gets old coming and giving the same credit to guys. And I'm not pooping on Lomachenko, but his last three opponents was let's just say Crowler, Luke Campbell. Now Luke Campbell, and it was what's his name? Pedraza before that. Pedraza's probably the best of those guys, but come on, man. Jarrett Hurd's last three is Lyra, J-Rock, Trout, Harrison, last 3, 4, 5 is that. And it's just like, man, that kind of praise right there, that gets you more excited. So we got new names, we got new things going on. We can get dominant wins, and we just go from there. And so I'm gonna change my channel direction up, so I'm finna get out here before the people listening and people that listen in the future. We will just go live more throughout the day. That's what I'm gonna do, because I've been thinking, hey, get a camera, get quality, upload the video. And it's like, why? YouTube gives you a camera, maybe get a webcam, show the face and do the talking. Maybe not, just do it how I want to do it. It's commentary, it's boxing commentary. I don't think y'all care to see my face or whatever anyways, but we just trying to give y'all what y'all like in this boxing talk stuff, and I hope I'm doing so. Soon we're gonna put the channel back up for monetization, so we'll see how YouTube likes my new commentary without the cursing, without the insults, and see if we could go from there and get this channel monetized and start pushing better in boxing. I appreciate everybody watching right now. He said Linares is legit ? Yeah, but yeah, Linares was a good fight for Lomachenko. I don't think he's the best fighter in the world, and his record shows it. But it was a good fight. It was a good fight, and it was a lot of size advantages there. You got to take all that to account. You got to tell the story of the fight, not just the story of a guy's career. I like to know boxing because I know boxing, not just spew a career. A career don't win you a fight. That night wins you the fight. And Linares showed up pretty well, but Lomachenko wasn't having it, bro. Lomachenko is nobody's punk. I'm telling you, he is nobody's punk. Harrison and Kovalev are the underrated boxers today. That's my opinion. They both show one of the better jabs of 2018, early 2019. What Kovalev did to Alvarez was phenomenal. Phenomenal. People talking about Alvarez didn't let his hands go. Sometimes you getting hit in the face with a jab that's dictating your direction. You won't let your hands go. You won't have a choice, because if you do let them go, you will be in position to get hit with 7, 8 more shots. And Kovalev at times landed 4 or 5 punch combinations on this dude. And you gotta remember, that's Sergey Kovalev that can punch. And both of the guys you just named can punch. I don't think J-Rock will stay defensively responsible the whole fight. Hurd is gonna catch him eventually. Hurd is not a one-punch fighter, though. I mean, could he be if J-Rock tires? You know, you got a point. You got a point. But remember, Jermell Charlo, just like his brother, is one of the biggest punchers in the sport of boxing. He one-punched J-Rock. J-Rock went from I'm cognitive, I got my whereabouts, I'm fine, I'm fighting A-OK, to dang, it's over. That's one punch crazy power hit. Both brothers had done these things in top level fights. Hurd, on the other hand, has been big time accumulation. Big time. You lose stamina, he gets stronger. He is vulnerable, but you cannot, I'm not going to take his rate away because of vulnerabilities. You take his rate away because he loses, and because he loses badly at that. Because a lot of you guys let guys lose and they stay on pound for pound list. Mike Garcia just lost horribly with no kind of wins like Jarrett Hurd, and he's still on people pound for pound list. So if Jarrett Hurd loses tomorrow, understand he's number one for me right now. I'm going to be finding a place on the list for him based on the performance he puts up. All right, so let's just enjoy the weekend. I'm going live for the fight, and so I say right now. But look, I ain't been pumped for a fight like this for a nice little minute. Canelo Jacobs wasn't as big as this fight for me. It just wasn't. This one is huge. This one's huge. No politics involved. Just a guy in Jarrett Hurd that continues to fight top 5 opposition. Guys who, and if he's not rated top 5, if J-Rock is not rated top 5, tell the Ring Magazine to get their weight up. Okay, stop playing games with us. Okay, but end of the day, I feel like I did a good video here. I kept my mouth clean, kept everything on the up and up. So I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Appreciate everybody hit the thumbs up button. If you're watching, you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please go ahead and do so now. You can subscribe to the channel. Also, if you haven't done so, and hit the bell icon to get notifications the next time that I go live. I greatly appreciate the support. I need a yawn before I continue. Okay, you can also share this video with your friends all throughout the world wide web, where you talk boxing in your sports forums or your boxing forums, all throughout your social media groups, and with your friends throughout social media. You can share the link as well. That will help grow the channel. I greatly appreciate the support. As I said before, until next time, ain't no place like low place, and I'm out.